السلام عليكم. Good afternoon. Happy Eid إن شاء الله.
Good afternoon.
دكتور. Good afternoon.
Yes, now we have 3 chapters. As you know. مش وقت تخلص هاي السالفة. يلا عيني تنضموا كلكم. هسه 32. That's okay كرار. 32 your numbers.
نعم دكتور، تقريبا هو هذا العدد اللي
اوكي تمام. These 3 chapters will be the last of 3 chapters of the first book that entitled اللي هو the first one sewing. Okay, the first book just entitled هو sewing. These will be last of 3 chapters of the first book. Okay, اللي هو number 1 chapter 16 or 14 I think. Yes, 14. The great manufacturer. The great manufacturer. Yes, you always know that many titles under these chapters exist. The first chapter اللي هو chapter 14. I will explain about just summary for this chapter and as well as the explanation with the critical comments for this chapter exact. Chapter اللي هو the great manufacturer. You have, as you know, you have many titled in this chapter. For example, in the first title, CC's اللي هي disappointing performance at school. This is first title. Second title, a grand member of parliament. A third title, something uncommonly jolly about happen. And as well as critical comments for this chapter. For example, it has many characters, many protagonist characters in these chapters. It's important characters for CC. This is first character. Second character, Louisa. Third character, Tom. CC's disappointing performance at school. This is the title for this chapter اللي هو the great manufacturer. With the passing of time, Louisa grows into a young woman, and her brother Thomas. Yes, Noor. Do you have any question? Noor Muhammad. Yes, I think raised your hand now. Yes, with the passing of time, Louisa grows into a young woman and her brother Thomas into a young man. Louisa, a young woman, and Thomas, a young man. In this chapter, exact. A graduate is not all satisfied with CC's progress at school and feels that CC should discontinue going there. CC admits her. Yes, Jalil always just be late to join our lecture. Yes, CC admits her deficiencies and express her keen. What does it mean, keen? What does it mean, keen? K-E-E-N. What does it mean, this word? Who can tell me? Keen or deficiencies, what does it mean, these words? For example, Cece admits her deficiencies and expresses her keen. الكين هنا هي الإجر. What does it mean, إجر, in Arabic? What does it mean? Yes.
متحمس.
شديد الحماس، متحمس. ممكن نقول إجر من aspect of his feeling. That's okay.
Yes. Can we say beginning?
Yes, that's okay. Beginning also, but not exact. The same, not the same meaning exact. Okay. However, and expresses her keen regret at having disappointed her patron's hopes. However, Gradgrind has found Cece quite useful in the family and is far from holding her in contempt. Even though he has formed a poor opinion. He has formed a poor opinion about her calculating powers. For example, here, Gradgrind, a member of parliament. A Gradgrind here, ambition is fulfilled. When he is elected member of parliament for Cooktown in their city. In other respects, there has been absolutely no change in a grade. A critical comments for this chapter, this just explanation for summary, and the critical comments is very important in your exam. A critical comments of in this chapter, it has three main characters, just are protagonist characters. For example, the first character, Cece. This chapter throws some more light on the character of Cece and Louisa. Two characters, Cece and Louisa. As Gradgrind points out, Cece has not been able to become a proficient in figures and arithmetic. What does it mean, arithmetic? What does it mean, arithmetic? You can just focus in this sentence. Cece has not been able to become a proficient in figures and arithmetic. الارثماتيك هي الكالكولايتنج هي العملية الحسابية بالنسبة للويزا وبالنسبة لسيسي. She is altogether background and below the mark. Cece's reply to this, through she herself does not understand why. The full significance of what she says is perhaps I try to learn too much, and if I has asked to be allowed to try a little less, I might have. In other words, Gradgrind system of education, thrust. What does it mean, thrust? التراث اللي هي الانستراكشنز، التوجيهات، التعليمات. Too many facts down a pupil's throat. Now, even Gradgrind has to acknowledge the human merit. عندكم الميرت وعندكم الديميرت. اوكي، الميرت والديميرت. الميرت هي بالنسبة للaspects of Sisi. For example, or for instance, he says to her, I do not complain of you. Why? You are an affectionate. For example, what does it mean affectionate؟ اللي هي soulful، هي الحنون وعطوف، اللي هو الكايند. اوكي، soulful اللي هي نفسها affectionate. earnest good young woman aspect of Louisa. Now, Sissy is not a grateful girl, and she sincerely acknowledges a grandparent's kindness to a poor a girl who had no claim upon you. Okay, as well as just in this chapter description of Louisa. This is first, and description of Tom. This is second character or second protagonist characters in these chapters. Now this is summary and critical comments for just one chapter اللي هو chapter 14, the great manufacturer. Now who can tell me about just I think new events for this chapter or for 3 chapters? That's okay, the same events. Yes, now who can tell me about new events for these chapters? Exact. Yes, now. Yes, anyone? Marwan, go ahead, Marwan.
Yes, teacher.
Yes.
The novel makes clear that Sisi early education of fancy is responsibly for the good-hearted young woman she has grown into Tom. Manuel is either following or being pushed to the follow in boundary.
Yeah.
Steps by comparing the work of the parliament to the fast-paced work done in Cooktown. The novel indicates that parliament actions and laws do not take into account really lives or involve any humanity or composition.
Humanity and composition. Yes, thank you very much, Marwan.
Yes,
thanks a lot. Yes, Rania Muhammad.
Yes, Miss.
Yes, Rania.
Yes, still changes are visible in Mr. Gradgrand's personality as a result of his relationship with the Sissy. Even though he expresses disappointment in her performance as a student. He recognizes her other valuable qualities. His assessment of them is lukewarm at this point, but his recognition of her good trust and service to his family represents significant progress from his attitude toward her when he first took her, at which time he felt her sentimental and imaginative nature would prove a bad influence on his children.
Wrote about efficiency. Yes, thank you very much. Now, yes, to all students, just 3 chapters, the same events. Aspect in the first 14, chapter 14 about the great manufacturer, chapter 15 about father and daughter, the same event also. Aspect of Gradgrand holds the promised interview with Louisa. This is just father and daughter. And last chapter about marriage, the marriage. With marriage between Bounderby, as you know, gets married to Louisa. Okay, you can explanation about these 3 chapters, not just 1 chapter. Okay, understand me? Yes. Okay, go ahead. Yes, Hussein Salman,
Yes,
go ahead.
doctor.
Yeah,
How are you?
I'm fine, perfectly okay. And you?
I'm well. Say something about last chapter 14, because you are speaking about the first part. I
Okay,
speak about the second part.
okay.
When Louisa want to say goodbye to his father, Mr. Grand, because
Yes.
he is went the house and come back in late hour.
Okay.
He says something about he want to speak with her about something is important for him,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
and tell him waiting him in after breakfast tomorrow,
Mm-hmm.
after breakfast in his
Yeah.
room.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. After that, Louisa was watching the fire as she
Yeah.
always do that.
Yes.
And yes, and this event, Thomas is enter the room,
And this
and
event, Thomas enter the room. Yes. Mm-hmm.
yes, uh, Thomas entered the room, and she was very very missing him, and very she don't see him very much because he was busy with Mr.
Yeah.
Bounderby,
Yeah. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
tell him
Yeah.
you are tell him you are so busy. Why are don't to see your sister?
Yeah. Yes, that's right.
Yes, Thomas say, are your father say something about you? She
Mm-hmm.
answer him, don't any much or something. Yes, not anything.
Else.
But
Yeah.
he tomorrow
Mm-hmm.
what talk about something important tomorrow.
Yes.
He
Yes. Thank
he
you very
here in
much.
this point say to him, you are uh, want to decide it what you are want in this event. He don't
Yeah.
tell him you are want to be marrying with Mr. Bounderby.
With Mr. Bounderby. Yes. Okay, Hussein, thank you very much. That's
Thank you.
enough. Thanks
Thank
a
you.
lot. Thank you. Yes, another student about the new events for these 3 chapters. Mariam Rahim, go ahead. Mariam.
Yes, Doctor. Summary chapter 15. Father,
Yeah.
father and father and daughter. When her father resays the uh, the the progress of marriage, Louisa seems for that she is does not understand why she is begins asked to love the 50 years old boundary. She
On
is
the.
she
Mhm.
is that she is that does not love him. He agrees to marry him. Asked what does to matter. Louisa realize she does not in fact now how it
Very good. Mhm.
love about she is an anxious to please her father by married his friend.
Thank you very much. Just Bounderby makes a brief speech saying that he is very happy to be married to Gradgrin's daughter and that he believes her to be worthy of him and himself to be worthy of her. Bounderby and Louisa then leave the Lions for their honeymoon. Okay, for their honeymoon. Louisa brother Tom is extremely happy at the marriage. Yes, thank you very much. Mariam, yes, Hawra Adnan, go ahead.
Yes, Doctor. Chapter
Yes,
15. Mr.
yeah.
Grandland summons Louisa. to her room and informs her that Mr. Bounderby had asked for her hand in marriage. She doesn't reject at first, then responds that she doesn't love Bounderby. Grandgren recommends that she substitute fact for sentiment in their marriage. Louisa replies that she expects that this,
Oh,
but for a moment
yes.
seems to be wavering on the brink of releasing all her pent-up feeling because
Uh-huh.
there
Yes,
is
that's
no history
yeah.
of confidence or the sharing of emotions between her and her dry father. So
Oh,
she
thank
says
you.
no
That's
faith on
enough. Thank you very much. That's a good explanation for us. Thank you very much. Thanks a lot. Thank you. Bakr? Bakr? Go ahead, Bakr عودة. Yes, Bakr.
نعم.
Do you hear me? Yes, okay.
نعم.
Yes, any new events for 3 chapters or about just a main idea or aspect
Chapter
of yeah, up
summary
to you.
chapter
Yes.
state when her father races the prospect
Yeah.
of much we
Mm-hmm.
but she does not understand where she is being asked to live the 50-year-old
Yes.
bent where she is that she does not live him. She is she
Mm-hmm.
agrees to marry him as king. What does it mean?
Yes, that's okay. Okay, okay, thank you. Fatima Jum'ah, yes, go ahead.
Yes, Miss. Good
Yes,
afternoon.
good afternoon.
Summary 15. Over time, many things have changed in the city of Cooktown.
Yeah.
After 5 years, Louisa became a beautiful young girl. Tom, who started working in Mr. Bowenderby's bank.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Gradgring is a member of the government. The
Mm-hmm.
question, who the hell be Mr. Gradgring to be a member of the government and why?
Yes.
Answer, Mr. Bowenderby
Mm-hmm.
helped him in this and in return. Mr. Gradgring will marry his daughter to be Mr. Bowenderby.
Yes.
And this deal skills marry a relationship in those times were thought transactions. A
Mm-hmm.
woman, a woman could not give an omission about anything, and that time even about marriage
Yeah.
or other things related to her life.
Okay, thank you very much. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, just anyone ناخذ يوسف. Yes, Yusuf. Where are you, Yusuf?
دورة
Thank you very much, Honorable. Yes, thanks. Thanks a lot. Yes, Yusuf.
دورة العفو دكتورة. كرار
كرر.
الدكتورة يوسف كتب لي بالشات قبل شوية كتب لي بالشات هو.
والله خلي
قال
اشوف
له
الشات لحظة، والله لحظة أنا ما شفت الشات.
اي والله يا ريت تشوفين الشات.
يوسف أحمد. Honorable. I would okay to ask you to allow me. Okay. That's okay. Yes.
دورة مريم عبد المطلب هاي اللي طالبة هم يا ريت قلتي لي بلغها.
وينها مريم؟ مريم،
موجودة دكتورة مريم.
يلا مريم، وينك مريم عبد المطلب؟ جو اهيد مريم. مريم وينك؟ مريم ليش ما تحضرين محاضرات؟ عندك هواية غياب الابسنس عندك وصل يعني تقريبا صارت لك 4 محاضرات او 5. واي؟ You have any reason يعني؟ Yes, all right. Yes, continue with the
Summary, chapter
Yeah.
15. When Grandparents and Louisa Speaker took there after breakfast, he tells her my Bounty went to marry her he exclaimed that they ago difference between them is not such a problem for people as practical as they are, and explained they cast in favor of their march. He is taken aback when Louisa asks if she is expected to love Mar Bounty, thanking she is above such.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Mariam. That's okay. Under student إخلاص, go ahead إخلاص.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yes, the question of how women, marriage, and the home fit into an industrializing.
Yes, in the last chapter, I think, yeah.
Yes, mechanized society now comes to the forefront. During the Victorian era, the home was widely regarded as a place for relaxation and pleasure, and as an escape from the moral corruption of the business world and from the grinding monotony of factory life, in short. As a refuge from the working world, in her time, however, the distinction between home and workplace begins to dissolve. For instance, the grand household is almost as mechanized as a factory.
A factory. Yes, thank you.
Similarly, when Stephen's drunken wives suddenly returns his home, no longer provides a refuge from the misery of his factory work. So he restores to wandering the streets rather than refuging home after work. In both of these instances, the home fails to serve as a refuge from the working world.
Thank you very much. Yes, this is the critical comments for chapter the marriage. Yeah.
Yes, the home presented in hard times derive their tone from whatever female inhabits them. For instance, grandparents' wife, who is too complaints to argue, to argue with her husband over his misogynistic ways, allows him to determine the fact-heavy tone of the home. Stephen's wife, the lascivious drunk, makes their home a want den to which Steve is reluctant to return.
Okay, thank you very much, class. This is the critical comments for this for last chapter. It's excellent. Thank you very much. Another Sajjad Sadiq. Go ahead, Sajjad.
Yes, Doctor. Hello, how are you?
Hello, perfectly okay, thanks.
I will talk about chapter 15.
Okay.
We know in the first chapter, Mr. Boundary, he wants to get married from Louisa. This chapter 15, and its title, Father and Daughter. The writer begins by describing the room, Mr. Grand room, and it's full with a blue box with window overlooking Cooktown. Mr. Gradgrind sees his daughter waiting him in his room, and he starts talking to her. He told her, "My boundary waiting for his time, the time when you are going to be young girl."
Yeah.
I began asking him, should I love him? Should
Yeah.
I marry him?
Yes.
He couldn't answer. Mr. Gradgrind say,
Yeah.
there is no difference between you, but the only difference it is the difference of a lifetime.
Yes.
You are 20 and he is 50, and that's not a problem. In the Britain and Wales, even China, we find the difference in age between couples as the social class. You are equal. She's at the end of the conversation. She told him, "Tell Mr. Bound, I agree to marry him." Mr. Gradgrind, he was so proud of her because she didn't refuse him a request.
Yes. Okay. Thank you
كمل.
very much.
شكرا
No,
شكرا شكرا
that's
شكرا
it. That's
دكتور
it.
شكرا شكرا.
Fatima Zahra, yes, go ahead. Fatima. Yes.
Yes, doctor. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Chapter 15, Mr. Gary Grant, Gary Grant, عفوا. Send Louisa to his room and inform her that Mr. Bounderby has asking for her hand in marriage. She doesn't react her first, then rebound that he doesn't love Bounderby. Gary Grant recommend that she substitute fact for synonym in that marriage. Louisa replied that she is accept that, but for a moment to the weaving on the drunk of refrain the but about feeling, because there is not a history of conflict or the sharing of the emotion about her. The dry father thought she asked nothing and say, ensure has
That's
the
enough.
thanks.
That's enough,
Yes.
Fatima Zahra. Thank you very much. Thanks a
welcome.
lot. Ali Abdulraza, go ahead. Ali.
Yes, doctor. Thank you.
Okay.
I would have analysis about 16, chapter 16.
Okay, last chapter. Yes, that's okay.
The determination of these two egoistic characters to preserve their pride and vanity at the expense of the other make for comic and ridiculous scene.
Yes, very good.
Mr.
Comic, اللي هي the same irony or satire. This is the exact the theme of this chapter. Yes, go ahead.
Yes, Mr. Sparsit believe that this will be in happy marriage, will prove to be correct, and she will do everything she can to make it in happy.
Yes, just it has this marriage the contrast between the manner in which Bounderby had expected Mrs. Sparsit to behave and the manner in which she actually behaved on learning the news of his proposal. What does it mean, proposal? اللي هو البروبوزال just meaning like suggestion of Mrs. Sparsit aspect for Mrs. Bounderby. Yes, go ahead. Yes, thank you very much. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
now من ويانا بعد بنات رملة شاسب. Go ahead رملة. Okay. Now another Karar. Go ahead, Karar. Do you have a new events, not the same events aspect for summary and a critical comment? That's okay. Okay. Yes, Karar. Do you have any main idea or any your opinion? Just here to us.
Miss?
Yes, anyone? Karar, Ramle?
Yes, 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 Doctor. Ana.
Yes, Karar. Yeah.
How does with me? But,
Okay, Marwa, you can wait your cue. Yes,
okay.
Karar, go ahead.
Yes. How does Founder B think that Miss Sparset will react to his news?
Yes.
Mr. Bob was worried about who to pass the news to Mrs. Spars. He was wondering if she would be sad, whether she would break her heart or break glasses on
Yes.
his way home. The evening he set aside for his Montes purpose. He took the precaution of stopping into a chemist.
Yes, chemist.
Yes.
Yes.
Shop buying a bottle of very strongest similar solids. Mr. Bobby said if she take it in the fine tuning way, I will have a skin of her nose.
Oh, okay, thank you very much كرار. Thanks a lot. بعد بنات منو ما قامت المحاضرة البريفيوس ليكتشر دائما تقول لي أنا ما قمت منو؟
دكتورة.
Which just your name? Your name? Your name.
فاطمة علي. فاطمة علي.
يلا فاطمة علي مجيد. Yes, go ahead. فاطمة.
Question, why was Stephen Blackpool cast out of Cape Town? Stephen Blackpool, after debate with Bonderab, he is dismissed from his work at the Cooktown Mills and by his fellow workers is forced to look for work while absent from Cooktown. He of robbing Bonderab bank.
Okay. Just this events or that's just repeated, that's the same event. Yes, thank you very much. All right. عندنا هنا مريم رحيم. وين مريم رحيم؟ كله غياب 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 غياب. وين مريم؟ مريم رحيم.
عندك.
يس مريم.
ما عندي إجابات.
لا عندك غياب يوم 10/4. 10/4. اي هاي محاضرة بس عندك زيرو بالتحضير. عندك يوم انا انطيك اياها
دكتورة صح لانه صادف عندي ظرف بيها وما قدرت احضر المحاضرة بس مجازي يعني غير خبر الكرار وللقسم همين.
اوكي alright yes go ahead يلا. Yes مريم. Do you have another events or your opinion for these chapters, 3 chapters?
نعم دكتورة شاركت قبل شوي.
اوكي مريم شو ما مأشرة ليش؟ مريم رحيم شاركتي؟
نعم دكتورة قبل شوي شاركت.
ما مأشرة عليك. yes that's okay thanks a lot thank you. أنا أشوف عندكم 000 أنا جاي أشوف وضعهم شنو هو. بعد عندنا منتظر عماد. منتظر عماد أنت بالحضور أوكي كلش أوكي بالحضور بس بالواجب نو. المنتظر just you can yes do you hear to me منتظر اوكي. بعد عندنا مؤمل همين بالحضور يعني عنده محاضرتين غايب بها او 3 والباقي عنده كله 0 ولا يوم مشارك ويانا. يس مؤمل جاسم علوان سعد. مؤمل اوكي يس مرتضى غازي. يس جو اهيد مرتضى.
Yes, doctor. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I have a summary of chapter 16.
summary مرتضى معناها the same events. Just do you have main idea, just a critical comments, or just summary? That's okay.
Yes, just summary. Sorry.
Yes, okay. Yeah, go ahead.
Back at Mr. Bounderby house, Bounderby is rather nervous as to how Mrs. Sebracet will take the news of his engagement, knowing she has never reacted very early in the past of hints of it. When he finally breaks it to her, she condescendingly watches them all her best and makes it clear that she baits him and says him.
Okay. اوكي يس ثانك يو فيري ماتش. اني بس حبيت اشوف البروناسيشن مالتك، بس هاي ما تعتبر لك مشاركه، اطلبك مشاركه نيكست ليكشر. ذاتس اوكي مرتضى؟
اوكي دكتور.
اوكي ثانكس ا لوت. بعد عندنا منو اللي عندهم the summary or the same event ينزل ايده، واللي عندهم main idea or new events that's okay raise your hand. اوكي عندنا اللي بقوا ريتاج.
Yes.
يلا ريتاج.
Yes, Thomas is selfishness and total self-absorption is on display here. First, he says the marriage only in terms of what it will do for him. How he can use the marriage as a kind of transaction to make Bounderby give him a more respect, and he is so caught up in this thoughts that he does not even notice or care about his sister of vice dismay and deep sadness. Tom's education proves to have turned him into and not very nice a young man.
Yes, thank you ريتاج. منو عنده بعد main idea or another? آية. Yes آية.
Yes, miss.
Yes آية.
Louisa during the session to the marriage progress from Amy, she was shown dislike for in the past. Shows how disturbed of a young woman she has become instead of revealing the feelings of her heart, which her father has taught her not to do. She turns along as usual with her father's wishes. Her education of fact has not taught her how to deal with this situation so difficult as this. She takes good ground advice to replace.
Okay, that's enough. Thank you very much. That's enough. Yes, نور محمد حتى نلحق على الوقت نقوم الباقي. نور محمد.
Yes, miss.
Yes, يلا نور.
ولا تقومي صار محاضرتين.
هسه قومتك. يلا نور.
Okay. Bound Louisa made him not out of love, but out of sense of duty to her brother Tom, the only person in the world she loves, and how worthless her into saying yes, because he work of Bounderby and want to improve his changes at raising in the world. Louisa and Bounderby is marriage 3 tends to be unhappy because they are separated not only by an age difference of about 30 years, but by their inability to communicate with each other.
Thank you. Thanks a lot, Noor. عافية بنور. Thanks a lot. أحمد ستار. Yes, go ahead, Ahmed.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yes, doctor.
Yes.
I have an idea, doctor.
Yes, that's okay. But I think you have got some problem in your mic.
Yes, doctor. Sorry for the poor sound.
Yes, I think that, yeah. Yes, all right. Yes, go ahead, Ahmed.
Yes, doctor. Marriage mediates the politics of the social sphere more and than anything else. Also, present in interesting contrast between Mrs.
Very good.
and Mr. Bound.
Yes, contrast. Yes, Ahmed, contrast.
Contrast, yes, doctor.
Yeah.
Yes. Her fact show of sympathy important the final unhappiness of the marriage. Yes, doctor. Who exactly is the victim as the first book ends. It is left to us to compare the hilarious cause of Kirby and the more this bright cause of Blackpool.
Thank you. Thank you, Ahmed. Thanks a lot. أحمد هاي السنة أنت كلش شاطر. يعني أحمد أنا أتذكر سنة 2000 وش قد 2016 أنت كنت طالب عندي. مو أحمد؟
عندك 2015 أنا سجاد صادق كنا طلاب عندك.
أي سجاد منين؟ أنا ما سجاد أتذكرك يعني.
أشكرك.
كنت يعني أحمد كنت معذبني تتذكر أحمد؟
شلون ما أتذكر دكتورة؟
عذبني كنت
صحيح دكتورة.
شاطر.
أشكرك.
بالبداية بقيتها ما في تحضير ولا دراسة.
صحيح. بس I think the same يعني behavior يعني هو نفس أسلوبي هذا بالنسبة للإلكتروني ولا الحضوري مو؟
لا والله لا بالحضوري شوية أشد. شوية هون اي اشد بالحضور.
تحكون علي الالكتروني ان شاء الله نفس كثير.
بيك البركه دكتوره.
يعني دكتوره ممكن تدخلين علينا يعني تقولي للطالب اقرا بعد يرتبك، ليش ما يقدر يسوي؟
كنتوا هوايه تنطردون اتذكر والله كان يعني ذيك السنين مالتكم كنتوا يعني مو مثل هاي السنين، كانوا الطلاب كلش محترمين يعني وحتى هسه يعني ما اعرفكم بس انا توقفت بال 2017 بس يقولون هسه شويه الوضع يعني ما هالقد يعني مو مثل قبل فما اعرف ثاني من اجي لا راح يصير الوضع احسن.
ترى قطعت بس متابع الاخبار تعرفين عن طريق.
اوكي all the best thank you thanks a lot. yes نرجع للبنوتات بالله خلينا نشوف منو اليوم. ريتاج شاركت ويانا just participate with us. بعد مروان yes go ahead مروان هاي ثاني مرة انت هسه تشارك participate with us yeah مروان go ahead.
Louisa's reaction to the marriage proposal from a man she has showing dislike for in the past shows how to destroy of a young woman she has become instead of revealing the feeling of her heart, which her father has taught her not to do. She goes along as usual with her father's wishes. Her education of facts has not taught her how to deal with a situation so difficult as this. She takes grand advice to replace sentiment with fact in her marriage.
Very good.
Which to the rider is absolutely ludicrous advice and
Yes.
forbidden bad things for the couple to be.
Yes, thank you very much, Marwan. Thanks
Yes,
a
thank
lot.
you.
Now finished these chapters, 3 chapters, were last 3 chapters of book 2 or book 1. next week راح ناخذ البوك 2 اللي هو الريبينج. اوكي، بوك 2 الانتايتلد هو ريبينج. قرار ذكرني بأن أنزل لكم على الكلاس الليكتشرز اللي كلها اللي تخص البوك 2 اللي الانتايتلز for this book اللي هو الريبينج. We have just some questions important in your exam. For example, what is the importance of the chapter entitled? For example, No Way Out. The same title for this question. Just you can focus in your exam. What is the importance of the chapter entitled, for example, No Way Out? Entitled The Great Manufacturer. Entitled Father and Daughter. Entitled The Marriage. Okay, this is just a staple. What is the importance of the chapter entitled? Okay, this is first. Second questions. What is, for example, what is the significance? The significance هي the same importance. Okay, and then what is the significance of, for example, of chapter 16, of chapter 11, of chapter 12, from book 1, from book 2, from book 3, entitled or any title, just under, for example, chapter 14, chapter 16, ناخذ لنا أي title اللي هو for example father and daughter. بس الصيغة هي يعني staple اللي هي which أو what is the significance of the chapter. Okay, زين. عندنا هنا for example who is, also this question also focus in your exam. Who is Mrs. Sparsit, and what is her role in the novel? Who is Mrs. Bowenderby, and what is his role in the novel? Who is Mrs., for example, Louisa, and what is her role in the novel? Okay, understand me? Also, yes, Ahmed? Yes? Do you have...
We can't say No Way Out can be compared the same way. We can compare the look of freedom experienced by poor pupil Stephen and children Tom and Louisa Grant.
Yes.
It should also be, yes, it should also be noted despite Miss Sparsit.
Sparsit, yes.
Yes, hypocrisy.
Hypocrisy. Aristocrat who has fallen on hard times.
Yes, she paralyzed Stephen.
Yeah.
Is a drinking wife. Her husband died of alcoholism in France.
Yes, thank you very much, Brian. Yes, wife in the in this role. Yes, thank you very much, Ahmed. Thank you. هنا عندكم هاي بالنسبة للكويستشنز اللي تجي يعني بالامتحان. نقول what are the 3 parts. احنا هاي نقول بعدنا ما واصلين ل 3 parts، فدائما نقول 2 parts، بما انه البارت الاول هو البوك 1 والبارت الثاني اللي هو الساوينج. دير بالكم فرقوا بين entitled for book 1 book 2 book 3. البوك 1 هو الساوينج والبوك 2 هو الريبينج exact، والبوك 3 بعدنا من ناخذه احنا راح نوضحه. what are the 3 parts او 2 parts of the novel and how does Dickens divide his novel. ليش قسمها؟ اوكي، وهي شنو what are the 2 parts، شنو هاي الجزئين، شنو هم of the novel and how does Dickens divide his novel. اوكي، اكيد هي Dickens divide this novel into 3 separate parts or separate books. يعني هو ديكنز ما دمجهن ابدا، ما دمجهن، يعني خلى كل بوك هو سيبريت عن البوك الثاني. 2 منهم نقول يعني just the sewing والreaping. 2 of which sewing and reaping example the concept of for example the whatever a man اللي هو من ناحية that shall also rape. For example in the first book is entitled this third book بعدنا ما ماخذي is from the book of Ruth اللي هو each major character for example sows, reaps, what is left. هاي بالنسبة للأجزاء الثلاثة اللي هو قسمهم ديكنز. أوكي، وإن شاء الله من يعني next week أريد أمتحنكم، يعني نحدد لكم امتحان.
دكتورة
يس حسين.
عندي كم ملاحظة.
أوكي.
قرار فصل عنده النت وما قدر يرجع. اعتذر من الدكتورة.
أوكي.
ومروة على حسين تقول النت يمي ضعيف يعني ما اقدر.
مروة اوكي.
دكتورة الاسبوع الجاي عندنا امتحانات يعني 3.
اي which day
ان شاء الله الاسابيع اللي
which day عندكم امتحان
ان شاء الله
حسين؟
يوم الاحد ويوم الاربعاء ويوم الخميس.
which day عندكم امتحان؟ احد واربعاء وخميس. الاحد شنو عندكم امتحان؟
مو هذا الاسبوع دكتورة،
next week غير؟ اي
يس
شنو عندكم امتحان الاحد؟
دراما جرامر
وجرامر.
يس وطراز.
اذا راح يكون
الاسابيع الجايه.
ما اقدر الاسابيع الجايه حسين، السعي يردو، فاحنا لازم نحدد لنا يوم، يعني لازم حتى لو مو
يعني لازم نمتحن الاسبوع الجاي.
لا مو next week، مو يعني مو next week. اذا عندكم 3 exams اوكي، فاحنا راح نحاول على اللي بعده ان شاء الله. بس اكيد يعني بعد انا حددت خلاص، اي استاذ يحدد بعد خلاص انت عندك اكزام.
نعم دكتور.
اوكي، لان يردون السعيات، فاحنا لازم نسرع حتى بين ما ناخذ البارت الثاني احنا نمتحن. تمام؟ after next week اكيد هم الطلاب جاي يسمعوني. after next week راح يكون الاكزام مالتكم.
اوكي تمام.
اوكي. يس تقى انت هسه انضميتي ويانا، وين كنتي؟ احنا خلصنا. تقى
قد اوفن دكتورة العفو، بس كان ما عندي نت، الاشتراك خلصاني، انا هسه اشتركنا وانضميت.
تقى ذيك المحاضرة همين تقى؟
لا دكتورة، انا دائما كل محاضرة موجودة.
اوكي يلا اشوف الاوراق مو يم الورقه. اوكي يوسف, yes, do you have any question?
Yes, afternoon, doctor.
Oh, okay, good afternoon.
How are you doing?
Perfectly okay, and you?
Yeah,
Alhamdulillah.
I've had better days.
Alhamdulillah.
I beg your pardon. My father had a surgery last night, and
Yes.
I have been at hospital for 3 weeks.
That's
And
okay.
again,
I am. Yes.
Yes, and that again, I sincerely apologize.
Okay. No. That's okay. Get well soon. Inshallah. Get well soon.
Thanks a lot. The same to all.
Okay. Okay. Thanks. That's okay. Yes. Do you have any question? Any problem in your lecture today?
دكتور عادي أشارك؟
بعد خلاص بعد عزلنا تقى عزلنا.
تمام دكتور.
اوكي next week ان شاء الله عندكم مجال. اللي ما مشاركين next week راح يشاركون قبل لا نخلي السعيات, لان after next week راح يكون your exam. اوكي اكيد الكترونيك exam. بس يجوز بلغوكم الفاينل مو الكترونيك, الكل يعني حضوري, بس ناو الكترونيك اكزام. انتوا عندكم درجات اصور الفيرست مانث, وهسه احنا السكند صور استاذ مثنى. بعدني والله ما شايفه الدرجات يدز لي اياها, بس ان شاء الله على هذا الامتحان حتى نعطيكم السعي مالتكم والحضور والغياب والمشاركة وكل شيء. Okay? Do you have any question, any problem? No? Okay. يلا ما راح ناخذ حضور اليوم. إن شاء الله على next week. أنا عرفتكم يعني هو 36 نفسه راح أخذ just screen. حسين كرار ما موجود, مو أنت موجود؟
نعم
حسين. أنا منبهته الكرار بأن هو ياخذ سكرين للحضور. فأنت هسه بدله راح تسوي بريس عن البارتيسيبيت وتاخذ سكرين للحضور. تمام؟
نعم دكتور. تمام.
Okay. Thank you very much for attendance or for joining with us in our lecture. See you next week. Thank you very much. Have a nice day. Thank you.